In this video we're going to go through how to create a new job in Darkroom. So as we can see on the screen, I have my Darkroom assembly open on the photo assist page in the bottom left hand corner there, and this is where we can create a new job. But before we can actually do that, we must get the CSV file of players and coaches from the organizations. So before we actually go to Darkroom, we need to sort the CSV list out. Now recently I was sent a CSV list from the Stampeders, and here it is. Now this one is actually pretty good. You can see the first name, the last name, the jersey number. They haven't filled in the position, but that's not a major problem. So if I just zoom in a little bit and just move it across, at least we have the players' names. Now this is not perfect as per Darkroom, so it needs to be altered. So we can see in the bottom here we have peewees and atoms, and if I go to the atom page we can see we have two teams, white and red, and again this is not formatted correctly for Darkroom. One, the actual team name of red and white is in the wrong place, and two, Darkroom will not necessarily like the hash in front of the numbers. So the CSV file needs to be tidied up before we can actually do anything. So Darkroom likes this information in the CSV in a very specific format, and if I just open up the template which Darkroom actually uses and just zoom in on this a little bit, this is the format that the CSV file must be in, and you can see there are different headings dependent on whether you're inputting staff, coaches, volunteers or players. So the first column is which division are these particular people in, then the team name. Column C identifies their actual role in the team. Are they a player, are they staff, a coach or a volunteer? So if we carry on with player, we can then see it is first name, last name, jersey number, position on the team, the head coach's name, which age group they are in, and the organization they belong to. Now this is exactly as Darkroom likes it. Now you don't have to put information into every box, but the boxes must be in the right place. So if you do not have any of this information, but you know the organization is the Stampeders, we must put empty boxes and then save the CSV file. You will see this in a moment. Coaches is going to be the one that you're going to use predominantly after players, and you can see from the coaches all we need is the first name, the last name, and again their position on the team. Are they the head coach and assistant coach? So just going back to my original CSV, we can see this needs altering. If I scroll down a little bit here and just zoom in, we can see here we actually have some coaches, head coaches and assistant coaches. So the CSV must be formatted and altered to be exactly what Darkroom requires. So what I did with the original CSV file that was sent is I altered it into the correct format for inputting into Darkroom. So we can see from this file here, this file is now ready to be inputted into Darkroom. So we can see we have the atom division, the team is the red team, these are players on their team, first name, last name and jersey number. We can also see that G is a blank file. G is these players' position on the team. Now I was not sent that as the original CSV, but I still need to include a blank entry even if I don't know that position, because Darkroom must have the particular format correct. We can then see the head coach's name. We can then see the age group is also blank. Again, age group was not sent to me as part of the CSV, so I didn't include it. But you do need to leave that column blank in order for Darkroom to understand. And then last one, the organization is Stampeders. So these are players on the team, and you can see the information that Darkroom requires. And if I just scroll down this list, we can see we have some coaches here. So these are the atom red coaches, and column C identifies to Darkroom what they are on the team. Remembering this is just player or coach. We would not put head coach in that particular column. The next thing is first name, last name, and then the column directly after the last name identifies their particular role within the team, be they a head coach or an assistant coach. You can also see that there is no more information after the actual position on the team, because Darkroom does not require it. If I just go back to my Darkroom template, we can see all we require for coach is first name, last name and position. If you had actually put, for example, the Stampeders in here, Darkroom would actually reject that as a bad CSV file, because it is not expecting any information after the particular role in column F. So that must remain blank. So once we've got the CSV ready for Darkroom, it needs to be saved as a CSV file. You cannot save it as an Excel spreadsheet, it must be a CSV file. So now we have prepped the CSV file, we can create a new job in Darkroom. So as you can see on the screen, this is Darkroom assembly. We can see that I have a test, a rebels and a wildcats from previous jobs. So the first thing I need to do is create a new job. So what we're actually going to call this is Stampeders, because that is the current job. Now we can see the state always comes up as Alabama. To be honest, the first part of this always comes up as an American state. We can change it to Canada later. So once we've actually identified it as Stampeders, you can give it a description if necessary. I'm just going to call it football in there so we know obviously what particular sport this is, and then create the job. Next, we need to identify which package group we're going to assign to this. Now the package groups will already be set up, and you can see the package groups are what contains the actual prints. So we can see the standard package group is an 8x10, some 5x7, some wallets and magnets. If I just click on the down arrow, we can see we do have a football package which has been set up previously. Now these will reflect the order form which is given out to players and parents. So we can see we have the A, B, C, D packages, as well as 8x10s, 5x7s, pro traders, magnets, all the normal things that will be seen on the order form. So just before we move on with the rest of the setting up of this job, I'm just going to show you why it's important to select the correct package group. Now I'm going to cover how to create templates and package groups in another video, but we have selected the football package because this is a football team. So if I just go to my photo library, I am just going to select a player. Now I'm going to choose one from a previous job, the blue team on the Wildcats, and I'm just going to select Elizabeth here at the top and just go down to my photo workshop. So there we can see a picture of Elizabeth, and in the top right hand corner here, this is the package group you've selected. Because you told it to use the football package, this will default here to the football packages. Now the beauty of this is, if we get an order from Elizabeth or her parents, say for the Elite Package A, there are two ways of selecting that package. I can just click on Elite Package A, or I can press the number associated with that particular package. So you can see it has auto-filled an order with Elite A, which is an 8x10, 2x5x7s, and some wallet traders. If she also wanted some magnets in this, I could click on number 9, which is magnets, or I can just press number 9 on the keyboard. That would then include the magnets with this particular order. Now if you had selected the wrong one, the backdrop will be different. So if I edit this image, you can see this has a football background, which is why it is very important to select the correct package group, otherwise the backdrops will be different. Obviously with a hockey backdrop, we're going to use a more hockey orientated background to the picture. Now we're not going to print any barcodes at this particular stage, so once we've assigned the package group as football, we can apply and continue. Next is the data templates. Which data template do you actually want to use with this job? Now we can see it's currently set to none, but if we just click on the down arrow, we can see I have included two in here, one called PSTP division and one with no division. Some teams do not have divisions, so we've removed that column from the CSV file. This one does have a division, so I'm going to include it. So we can see these are the different available photo types. We have players, graphics, coaches, team photos. We're going to see that in a moment. Next, you can see we have to import the data file. Now this is why we prep the CSV file before creating the job in Darkroom. So I'm going to import a data file. So we need to find this particular data. I'm just going to paste in the shortcut there, and we can see there the CSV file that I saved called the Stampeders. Remembering it must be saved as a CSV or Darkroom would reject it. So if I open this up, we can see it has imported the actual file. Now there is some information we can change in here, but if you've got the actual CSV file right in the first place, it should just be ready to import. We can see down here a nice green ready to import, but I'm going to go through some of the other stuff in here as well. The first question there is your data formatted to match the template specifications? Yes, it is, because I was very careful setting up the CSV in the first place. Does your data only contain one photo type? No, it doesn't, because I have players and coaches within the CSV file. Does your data include photo file names? No, because we haven't actually taken the photos yet. If we ever got round to actually doing a job where we had a CSV file with file names for photos in there, we can also import photos as part of this process. Obviously we're not doing that. This is for a new job that we haven't photographed yet. And the last one, does your data include orders? Well, again, no, because we haven't actually done the job yet. So if you formatted it correctly, we can see here the division, team, type, and then we have type fields. Now these should match up automatically if you got the CSV correct in the first place. So just before we import this data file, I'm just going to show you a couple of potential problems that can happen when you're trying to import data files. So you can see here I'm going to import data file. Now I'm going to take this second version here called copy, and I'm going to try and open it. So you can see it can't be opened. Now that's because I still have the actual file open in Excel. And you can see it down the bottom there. So you must make sure that the file is closed before you try and import it. So if I just close that particular window and then try again. So you can see it has imported this file into Darkroom, but we now have, in the bottom here, error on line 27. Fields do not match the photo type specified. Now unfortunately Darkroom doesn't actually put line numbers down the side here. So unless you want to count down 27 lines, and obviously on some of the bigger divisions there could well be 900 entries in this particular field, it's easier to go back to the CSV and have a look at what's wrong. And we know that there's an error on line 27. So if I just cancel that, and I will just open up my CSV again just from the shortcut menu, and we know it's on line 27. So I'll just make this a little bit bigger, scroll down to line 27, and we can see the error there is this is a coach. First name, last name, and his position on the team is coach. But I have included the organization on the end. So remembering back to the template CSV, that information cannot be included because Darkroom is not expecting it. So if I delete that Stampeders and resave the file, it will then work okay. So I've saved the file as a CSV, I've closed Excel. If I import the data file this time, the second one, the copy, is now ready to import and it works okay. So I'm going to import this file. And you can see that's now finished. So if I just apply and continue, what it's then going to do is say, how is this job actually going to operate? Are you going to do customers at or before the photo shoot, or is it after the photo shoot speculative orders? Well, we take a lot of orders at the actual photo shoot, so I'm going to do at or before. How are we going to capture the photos? Well, we're going to shoot tethered directly into a field station, which is one of the assembly dongles. Yes, we will be using a barcode reader, so I'm going to tick that box. My camera embeds barcode data into each image files. No, it doesn't. So we just leave the first one ticked. I will use a barcode reader. Apply and continue. This then tells you how to actually do the shoot. So we can see here, create new job, prepare for the shoot, capture the photos, proof and edits. So if you're unfamiliar with Darkroom, you can have a read through this and it will actually explain how to use Darkroom when you're actually taking the photos. I'll leave that for you later. I'm just going to apply and continue. So this job is now set up. If I go to my photo library, you can see now I have in my sports folder the Stampeders, and if I just open these up, you can see I have Atom and Pee-wee. Within the Atom I have a red and white team, and if I click on the red team, there are the files. So obviously these are all the players and the coaches that we had on that CSV file ready to shoot. You can also see from within this file structure on the left, there is actually a coach in the Atom and in the Pee-wee teams. Darkroom will automatically create a like a false directory purely for coaches on the team. This is particularly useful for when we're printing coaches' team shots. The next thing we need to add to this team is the team logo. When we're actually printing photos after the shoot, we have automated the process of putting logos into every picture, but we need to tell Darkroom what the logo is. So we add these at the name level of the organization. So we can see here Stampeders. Now you can see at the moment there are no photos in there, so we need to effectively add a new photo which will be a graphic. So we can see at the top here, add photo. Do not click on the plus at this stage. Click on the down arrow and then add a new photo. Now we're not actually going to add a photo. You can see on the screen here we're going to add a graphic. I'll just click on the down menu to show you the various options. We want to add a graphic and its name will be logo, and then OK it. We can now see we have an empty placeholder for the graphic or the logo for the Stampeders. So what we can now do is, making sure this is highlighted, then click on the plus and find this particular logo. Now the logos are stored on the X drive, which as we know is the working drive for Darkroom. So if I go into my X drive, they will be in the templates folder, and we can see here there is a folder called logos. Now you can see this is where I've been storing all of the logos for all of the different jobs, keeping them all nice and tidy in one place. And we can see there the Stampeders logo. So if I just click that and click import, the Stampeders logo will now be available to all photos after the event. To show you what I mean, if I just go to a different job, if I go to my Wildcats, you can see there is the Wildcats logo, this paw print. And if I just select one of the teams, I'll just go to my Atom team, Atom Blue, and select a particular player, Elizabeth, and then go down to my photo workshop. We can see Elizabeth there on the green screen. Now if I just add a border manually, just do an 8x10, we can see the logo there in the bottom left hand corner, and that is what has been automated by telling Darkroom the logo for the particular organization. So now we've added the logo, what we're going to do next is prepare the barcodes for the actual job. So going back to my photo assistant, going in to the Stampeders, we can see the menu here, and you can see it's fairly self-explanatory. So the first thing we're going to do is we want to prepare for the shoot. Now there's two ways of doing this. You can click on prepare for the shoot, and this will take you through various menus. So we can see here there's three options: print order forms, data forms, or ID labels. Now the first thing we're going to print is the ID labels. So if I click on there, we can see from the Stampeders the three teams that we inputted on the CSV: the Atom, red and white, and the Pee-wee. Now in order to make life simple for us on the actual shoot, we will not print all of these together, and I will show you what that means by just doing a print preview. If I print preview, you can see it puts all the teams in one long list. So when we're actually looking at this, we don't particularly know which team is which. So we are not going to use that option. It's a little bit laborious, but what we have to do is select each team individually. So you can see I only have the red team highlighted with the tick box. We then do print preview. So now we can see just the Atom Red team, players and coaches. The first entry on this list that just says Atom Red is the team photo, then we have coaches, and then we have players with their jersey number underneath. We can then print that. Now the reason I clicked on print preview is what I found is if I take off the red and select the white and just click print, it would then print that team and then take me out of this menu. And then you have to come back in and untick everything as before. So the easiest method I found is select the team you want, print preview, that's just one team, then print. Then go back to the previous page, select the next team, print preview, print. And that seems to be the easiest method of going through it. The next thing we need to make sure of is what happens if somebody turns up to the photo shoot that was not included in the original CSV file. So once we've printed all of these barcodes out, if we just return to the previous page, we're going to print some data forms. So if I just click on that option, you can see that there is now a drop down menu available to us, and we can print data forms for any of these. Now we normally just take some coaches and players data forms. So if I just click on player and then just do a print preview, this is what would actually be used on the shoot for people that did not put their names on the original CSV. This happens quite a lot with the new season because people haven't registered in time, so they don't necessarily get on the CSV. So what you're actually going to do on the shoot is you scan this barcode. The photographer would then take the photos of that particular player while the assistant fills in the information on this form. Once we get back to the office, we can then put that information into Darkroom because this barcode will uniquely identify the player. And you fill one of these in for every player that is not on your list. It's exactly the same for coaches. So if I just select coach and then do print preview, you can see the form is almost identical. But this barcode, once scanned into Darkroom on the field stations on the actual shoot, would then become unique to the actual coach that you've just photographed. So now we have printed barcodes for all the players and coaches in the CSV file. We also now have some data forms for players and coaches that were not in that original list. So if I just return to the previous page, we've also finished printing. So if I again just return to previous page, what we need to do now is prep the field stations. At this stage, the only PC that knows any of this information is the Darkroom assembly PC in the office. The actual field stations that will be taken out into the field to shoot the actual job do not know any of this information. So in order to prepare this information on the field stations, you actually have to go to the laptops that are going to be used in the field. You need to open the Darkroom software, and you need to make sure that you have connected to base station as the login. Once you have connected to the base station as the login, you need to go to the photo assistant page, which would look exactly like this, and you need to then go to the particular job that you want to prepare for. So this one is going to be the Stampeders. Remembering this is now on a field station, not on the actual assembly PC in the office. So once we've got to this stage here, we can see the current job is Stampeders. What we need to do is prepare the field computer. And we can see on the right hand side here, one of the options is prepare field computer. And all you simply do is click prepare now. This will then take all of the information from Darkroom assembly and then put it onto the field station. Now when you actually take that laptop into the field in order to do the shoot, when you actually open Darkroom, obviously you cannot connect to the base station. So when you open this in the field to do the shoot, all you will simply do is log in. It will then look exactly the same, and this information would be present and then obviously you can select the player using the barcode system and do the shoot. Once the shoot's been completed, you're back in the office, you put the laptop in the office, you connect up, you open Darkroom, and you say connect to the base station. What you can then do is you can then send all of the photos that are on that laptop only, and then you need to send them to the base station, so the base station can then obviously print out all of the photos. And it's a very similar thing. So once you're back in the office on the laptop and you have logged into the base station, you can again go to your photo assistant. I'll just go to here, and you can see here there is an option to synchronize to base station. This would then take all of the photos that you've taken on the particular job and send them all to the base station. Obviously the beauty of this is we're going to have several laptops actually doing captures on the job. All of the photos are then synchronized to the base station, and the job is controlled by that base station.